Hi, this is Splish and today I'll show you 5 free-to-play shooters. It's not a top 5 list on my behalf, but games that are pretty cool and fun to play and might therefore be of interest for you as well. I played 2 of them before, but the other 3 games were completely new for me, and it's also important to say that some of them are still under development. I'll put links to all 5 games in the description if you want to check that out, but with no further ado, let's get into it. I recently made a video about a surprisingly good looking Roblox shooter game called Frontlines, if you want to check that out. Rolling Thunder though, as I'm playing here, does not have that kind of graphics, but can still offer you, and maybe some friends as well, a good time together. I started to play the PvE gameplay demo, where you and your teammates needs to clear out a sector of the map when it comes to AI opponents, before being able to move into the next one. As you go, you will be able to buy new weapons and also come back to the helicopter whenever you need to refill your ammo. The movement is very fast paced and the gameplay, meaning shooting, is decent, and the PvE experience can keep you busy for quite some time if you survive to the next area of the map and so on. The PvP experience is pretty neat, and I think that it was a good idea to play some PvE first in order to get used to the weapons and mechanics in the game. Rolling Thunder PvP has game modes that you will be familiar with if you played other shooters where you can play, for example, Conquest or Domination like game modes. Overall, had a good time playing, and if you like me like to explore and try out games that you haven't played before, then Rolling Thunder could definitely be something for you, since it's also pretty chill and easy to play these kind of Roblox games directly from the Roblox website. This is a boring third-person zombie shooter with no plot, if we're gonna believe what the guy that has created Deathly Stillness has to say about his own game. But I tend to disagree, since this is a fairly good looking game with some pretty aggressive zombies that can stomp you if you're not careful enough when looting some of the houses for ammo. This is not an officially released game, it's more of a teaching case of Bilibili Sheng, but this plays well and has a nice atmosphere and action, and could potentially become a full-blown game if there were resources to make that happen. And you can therefore support the creator Sheng by sponsoring him through his YouTube channel. The different levels in the game does not contain any health packs, which means that you gotta keep an eye on your health while playing. The latest content added to the game, for what I can see, was a new shiny zombie boss in December 2021. Something I chose not to show in the video in order to not spoil the whole experience if you choose to download and play Deathly Stillness. Even though there's not so much content in this game, it's still worth checking out in my opinion, especially when you should have in consideration that this guy made most of this happen within just 17 days of development. Next game up is called Hired Ops, which is also, alongside with another game that I'll talk about a bit later in the video, the only game I played before close to its release. Hired Ops is a session-based online shooter where there are conflicts going on between rival mercenary groups. It's a decent looking game with quite some content, especially when you start to dig into the customization options in this game, when it comes to, for example, weapons and attachments. There's a class system in the game that also offers you to buy additional weapons, ammunition and special equipment during the actual battle. It can, for example, be a powerful grenade launcher or a kick-ass shotgun. The action takes place on a variety of locations when it comes to maps, such as a military base in Iran, in the ghetto outskirts of Bangkok, and so on. Besides the class system, there is also a contract system where you can perform different tasks and earn a reputation in the market of PCMs. The higher the reputation, the harder the tasks you get. Add to this an arsenal of over 80 pieces of modern small arm weapons and over 100 modules for it, then you probably realize that there's quite some possibilities when it comes to designing a huge variety of loadouts to your liking. Hired Ops gameplay is decent, and alongside with the customization options mentioned, it can definitely keep you busy for quite some time. Sector's Edge is a game that I've played before. It's a kind of Minecraft looking shooter where both building and the destructive environment is an important part of the game. Also gives a kind of certain dynamic to the game, especially when all holes and tunnels starts to appear on the map after some time due to explosions and players making their way through the ground and walls. That will definitely change the look on the map to a certain degree, and therefore how you play those parts of the map as well. The gameplay is surprisingly good, and Sector's Edge has an interesting point system when it comes to making your loadouts. The game was released in October 2021, and even though the game suffers from a somewhat low player count in 2022, there's still a small community that continues to show up and play the game. Therefore, you'll also find bots in the matches, but even so I want to show you Sector's Edge since it differs from many other more generic shooters out there. The game is also quite fast-paced and has a skill-based nature, and it can run well also on low-specs PCs and only takes about 1 gig of storage space. Operation Harsh Doorstop is an ongoing Patreon-funded tactical shooter made by a YouTuber called BlueDrake42. He has developed other games as well for his community and might therefore be interesting for you to check out on YouTube. The single-player demo you're seeing here is available on Steam, but you can get into the multiplayer playtest by joining their Patreon. The first versions of Operation Harsh Doorstop will cover basic infantry combat with dynamic objectives that encourage teamwork and coordination. Future versions of Operation Harsh Doorstop will include new factions, weapons, vehicles, mod support, and increasingly brutally realistic gameplay mechanics according to the devs or dev. BlueDrake42 also describes the game as a shooter sandbox covering a wide variety of conflicts and environments in single-player, multiplayer, or cooperative modes. The game feels a bit rough since it's still an early build that is meant to develop further. But I wanted you to know about this game since I see potential and possibilities further down the line, especially since the multiplayer could be of interest for gamers that enjoys these kind of tactical shooters. So if you're curious by nature like me when it comes to upcoming indie games or projects, then this game might be worth trying out so you can determine if you want to continue to follow the development and maybe even support it as well. So that was all for today. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Maybe you've already tried 1 or 2 of these games. Either way, I hope you enjoyed, and if you like FPS gaming videos when it comes to a variety of indie games, free-to-play games, or AAA games for that sake, then make sure to subscribe since I like to play and cover both old and new games that can be of interest for you as a FPS gamer. Have a great day and thanks for watching. Bye.